if anything, this is confirming. We have a relative success rate of these 4 decks that have been in the meta for a while. Rakdos mid, by and large, was relatively more successful than the other 4. But let's dive into what this information actually is. So we're testing mono white humans versus Lotus Field versus Azorius Control versus Rakdos mid in their tournament performance from July 2023 to the end of November 2023. So we're looking. So I feel like I need to explain these variables. So one of the knowns is how many times these decks showed up in the top 32 of the tournaments, right? Rakdos mid had the most at 99 appearances, right? With Azorius Control having the least at 44. Now, the presence factor is like, cool, sure. Our following is growing. I'm like, what the heck? Yes, we are like, every time I stream, there's like a few people rather than just Gabe and sometimes us.
It's mostly morbid curiosity, like, interesting.
Yeah, but here we are. Dude, so welcome to another recording of ACV MTG. No elaborate intro or script or any of that. We just said we're gonna do it live. Maybe this is better. Maybe this is our best video yet.
We're gonna do it live. That's a throwback.
Filled with it, dude. So what's going on, JJ? How you been, man? What's going on in your Magic life?
I am trying to come to grips with Karlov Manor.
Are you actually? I feel like you're a busy man. Have you been diving into Karlov Manor?
I built a standard brawl deck because you came at me, and then
left you.
Yeah, and I accidentally a couple of games I decked myself. I drew so many cards, so it was a very interesting. It's like I didn't expect that to happen on a just off the cuff deck, and I've been playing with standard a little bit last couple days.
Are you saying you're getting into standard now? Are you joining me with the standard grinders?
I'm trying to associate myself with the meta, to understand it. I think there's a lot, like some really interesting mechanics in the set. So I just don't want to not understand them when I'm trying to make them. I want to make them work in Pioneer. Yeah. So I have to understand them in standard first. So I'm forced to play.
So what's your experience so far with Karlov Manor?
It's so the disguise mechanic I've been trying to make work, and it's tricky. It reminds me of it is morph. It's the morph mechanic, but with a ward spell on it. So I really want to make that happen. So I keep but honestly, standard is dominated by I think I hit the same couple decks several times. Like I ran into them, and how we build, we're so inefficient. Like we're trying to just make something
Speak for yourself, dude. I'm a mythic ranked player, okay? I'm Magic royalty. So
yeah. You almost won all your RCQs. Almost.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's another story in and of itself. So I guess I can't really rely on my experience. I don't know if it was me or my pool. My tendency is to say to blame the cards or luck is kind of like a cheap out, right? In tournament Magic. Like obviously it was me. But I was deceived by the arena gods by going like 7-1, 7-2, and whatever, and playing the exact same format, freaking Karlov Manor sealed. Like I did. I think I showed you, right? I did like 10, 11 seal pools. I played a lot preparing for this RCQ.
You diving into limited has been I can see it's a. I think you're meant to do this.
But it's like I go to the RCQ and it's like it was my first day playing Magic the Gathering. It's like herp derp. I don't know what to do. I think I turned this card side. Like
Well,
it was like I was like total chump.
But you remember the first time, like the first deck you built for real, and then you brought it to fight me, and it was like, you know what I mean? Like you have these.
Four
you start
soul
off.
rings.
Well, you just start off with an idea, and then after you get the experience, then you sharpen your sword, right? So you just ran into battle with like a dull blade.
I thought that's what I was doing on Arena because I was playing the exact same format with the exact same cards, and I was destroying. Like I did all this research on the archetypes, like I knew what I was getting into. That's what I mean. Like I don't know, and like I mean. To be fair, in some of these matches, like there was a guy that pulled 2 Aurelia's Vindicators, which in limited right now is just absolutely insane. That's the I want to say it's an angel. It has disguise.
Aurelia's Vindicators.
Yeah.
Aurelia Vindicator. Okay, I see it. I just need to share mine.
It just dominates me. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. So
yeah, you can share yours.
What's that?
You can.
Yeah.
Shared. You see it?
It's buffering.
Is it buffering?
I don't know. Yeah, there it is.
Well, I'm sharing
it. So 4 mana, 2 white, and disguise. All right, Flying Lifelink Ward, which in limited are 3 insane words, right, to have on one card. All right,
yeah.
And then here's the real kicker: disguise, 3 and a white X. So when it's turned face up, exile X other target creatures from the battlefield and or creatures from graveyards. And when it leaves the battlefield, exile cards return to their owner hand.
Interesting.
So what they do is they flip this freaking thing, right? Remove your biggest threats, right, into exile. Get all of their threats back from the graveyard into exile. Then, gain 4 life per swing until it dies, right? Which is another uphill battle because it has ward too. And, evasion. And then when it dies, they get their bombs back into their hand, and I get, like, what is it called? Being, like, time warped? Like, I get set, like, freaking 4 turns back, right? And this is a mythic rare. A guy in 6-pack pulled 2 of them.
Yikes.
Right? So that's where, like, I see some stuff like that, and, like, my biggest bomb was, like, nothing even close. I don't even know where it's at. Oh, I want to pull it up because it really pissed me off.
I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna. Are you actually okay? Cool. You're breaking it out.
Yeah. Are you actually doing this right now?
Is it happening? You're showing me what you pulled.
Like, hold on. It was one. I don't even think it was a mythic. The thing is, I had really good. I don't know, man. Yeah, I should just stop talking about it because it's a pain point. And what I'm talking about, because I didn't say it outright, is like I went 0-3 my RCQ'd and just dropped. Right, it was a sealed RCQ. Where'd it go? Freaking stupid ass dragon. Oh, I don't think I can cuss. Stupid bleep. Here it is. Oh, it is a mythic. It's called Incinerator of the Guilty.
Okay.
Incinerator of the Guilty. You can share your screen again.
Okay, I'm tweeting out our talk show real quick.
Oh, really? Are we live?
Yeah, it says MKM Murders of Markov Manor.
Whoops! I need let me change that.
No. It's I love how it's spelled. It's Murders at Markov Manor, but it's Karlov Manor, but you spelled Manor Manner, which was so good.
Okay, I'm drunk.
I'm gonna leave it. We're talking about Murders at Markov Manor. I'm gonna just say that. That's so good. Yeah, were you drinking and streaming?
I guess I'm not supposed to do that, huh? All right, let's see. Oh, that's why. Interesting. Hold on.
What other? I put MTG, hashtag MTG Karlov, hashtag MTG.
Man,
MKM. I'm leaving hysterical. It's so good.
That's so bad. Oh my gosh, I need it.
I'm leaving it because it's so good. Oh, what do you want me to look up now? What am I sharing?
Incinerator of the Guilty.
Incinerator of the Guilty. Okay, I'm gonna share my. Man, we're totally doing it. We're live.
So this is a live podcast. I guess we should look at the comments. We have two viewers. That's not mine. Are they viewers, you and me?
I think it's both of us. Smash that like button.
Okay, so this was a pipe dream, right? But the thing is, like, this is the best bomb that I had. And sealed is a bomb format, so it's 4 red. Incinerator of the Guilty is a dragon, flying trample, and when it deals combat damage to a player. Hold on, let me mute myself. Okay. When it deals combat damage to a player, collect evidence X. When I do deals, it's a board wipe every time, which is cool. I never once drew this card.
So whatever mana cost you exile from your graveyard after you do damage, it does that to each creature and each planeswalker. So as long as you're hitting 5 and below,
which is super easy to do. Right, with the deck that I built, but it's like, it's a board wipe every single time functionally.
Yeah, that's rad.
Yeah, which is rad, cool. But that's the best card that I got, which doesn't synergize with any of the other cards that I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe I'm just really bad at sealed when I'm playing it in paper, and just not when it's digital. But anyway. Yes, that was the pain point that you decided to bring up. Thank you, JJ. I appreciate
that. hey, sealed is sealed. You just don't know what you're gonna get. Remember when we played? What was it? What was the one we just cracked open this last couple weeks ago? We did Lost Caverns of. Is that what we did?
Caverns? Oh yeah. I mean, we did too, right? Because we did pre-release packs for Karlov Manor, and then we did. We got a draft booster box of Ixalan, Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
And then the first game was freaking 9 hours long because
I almost decked myself. No, I did deck myself. I milled myself to death.
It was
with the accidental Merfolk deck.
I was like, I never want to play this game again. It's terrible.
Dude, but I love Limited, honestly. I don't know if it's just like new to me, but I think, I told you like that before, because I think Limited was my first experience at an LGS too. I feel like it's the purest form of competitive Magic. I feel like it's just a great equalizer. It's your mind, your understanding of the meta, and the cards you get are totally at a whim. Like, it's not a pay to win thing. It's not like Modern, right?
Right. And it's I think it has a skill set that it's harder to master than Constructed, because Constructed 100%. Has, like, when you were prepping me for the RCQ that I barely made the top 8.
But you top 8'd.
I did. I have I did, but hashtag blessed, and you kept saying play that deck again. Like, you just, every time you pulled out a new deck, you would just play it, play that deck, because I was playing humans, and you kept making me play it over and over and over again. And I feel like that's what got me to the level that I needed to be, because I pulled off some moves in those games that if I hadn't been so familiar with the deck, but that's the whole skill set there. Go buy the gun and get good with the gun.
Yeah, know every line of play that deck has for you.
Yeah, and then the limited is like, here's a pile of parts. See if you can configure a battle bot with it.
Literally. But it's so intellectually fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think I was texting you for a while. I was doing a bunch of the Ravnica Remastered.
I should read your texts, what you wrote during.
Oh my god, do it, please.
Okay.
And you're still sharing the screen.
Yeah.
I want to hear the playback.
Okay. Let's see. Let me back up to. Let's see. There's, I'll skip the parts where. There's some parts I should definitely skip. You said pull. Okay. First one is. Do you want me to stop sharing the screen first?
Yeah. I think we're done.
Okay. The first comment is knees weak, mom spaghetti. She first. And then you put pulled white, blue detectives splashed red. And then I responded with a fire emoji. And then you said synergy is better, but bombs are worse than my 7-1 deck. In reference to what you played in Arena, right? Mm-hmm. And then round 1, lost 2-1, won game 1 quickly. Game 2, lost to a list card with Cascade. Game 3, mana screwed out of red after a mull. And
yeah, I mulled to 5, yeah.
I could feel your inner pain at that moment, just like sitting at the table waiting for the next round.
You just that's one of those moments, when you're playing Magic where you just like you have to swallow. It is what it is, right? Like sometimes that happens. I mulled to 5. Like I was obviously not afraid of going down in cards, but I was on the play and whatever.
You said, and your next one was lost handily to a dude from PT Minneapolis. Time to retire from Magic. Then there was a 10-minute pause. And then you said, I have to win the next 3 rounds and beat the Breakers to go to the top 8. And I said, you can do it. And you said, and then 1 hour later, you wrote me, I'm 0-3. Not sure if I should just drop. And I said, keep going about the game. And then your next text was from your house. I was like, I think that encompasses all of the emotional bandwidth that a human being could have playing limited.
Yeah, that was it. A couple episodes ago we talked about mulliganing and not being afraid to do it, but sometimes you don't get the hand you need, you mulligan, you still don't get the hand you need, so you mulligan again, and then you have a choice if you're gonna go to 4 cards on the play or not.
Well, it's like my remember Hammer Time. I brought that to Wednesday Night Magic, and we were
prepping, and you were destroying me.
I was just on fire, wrecking you and I'm like, I'm gonna dominate. I'm gonna dominate tonight. And then
you're playing my red deck.
Yeah, you're playing red, and I mulled to 4 looking for Sigarda's Aid, and then I just died. And then there was this sad, and then I played again, and I mulled to 5, and then I'm like, I'm not going to 4, and then I just died after that. And then the next
sometimes
I think I won. Hard, man. I won. The thing happened only once at that whole night where I just played a turn 1. It was a turn 1 Sigarda's Aid. A turn 2 double striking creature, and then a turn 3 Colossal Hammer, and then smashed in for 22. And then that was one game out of all the games I played that night.
Yeah. How about Pioneer? You messed around with anything in Pioneer lately?
Ooh, have you looked at so I guess the new one to deal with is what's her face? Who's Amalia. That's the latest one.
But that's LCI. That's Lost Caverns of Ixalan, right? So there's and we have a Pro Tour next weekend. right? So it's going to be like, all the things that are cracking that meta right now are, TSSCI in the skiff, like as each respective team prepares for the Pro Tour.
There's like very few people that understand what you just said. Like what?
It's okay. There are very few people that watch.
I'm building the Insole artifact deck.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. What's the shtick? I see artifacts and I chuckle and then win.
Yeah, so the thing that you can do with it is if you play a turn 1 or 2 Darksteel Citadel, which is an indestructible artifact land, and then
and then you animate it and it's an indestructible.
It's an indestructible 5/5, and then you can smash in with that. And then there's all other hijinks you can do. Some people put shrapnel blast in there to get in the last 5 points of damage.
Some people try to meld Urza.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've built that deck. That's in my ridiculous deck pile.
That's like but you believe it's going to happen every game. What was to date? What do you think was your dumbest build, Bev?
Besides my first constructed deck with 4 Soul Rings in it.
well, something that you built that you thought was going to dominate, but didn't even come close. Because I know what mine is.
Something that like I legitimately thought was going to be good, or something like I knew it was going to be a joke.
No,
something that I
you believed.
Actually thought. Something that I actually thought was going to be good.
And then you just like womp womp. Because I can tell you what mine is.
I never took it to a store, but my Xander deck.
Oh, yeah.
When New Capenna came out, I brought it to our little play group. I thought it was going to be the cat's pajamas.
Okay, this explains you. I'm going to share this because people probably
at least no. It's a close one. It's either this or the one that relied on me ulting a Johnny.
Yeah, that was step 1, ultimate a Johnny. So this is Xander, Lord Xander the Collector, which was 100% meant for EDH. This is not meant for Pioneer play.
Pioneer.
And so explain yourself, like what this was supposed to do.
So what it was supposed to do, and did, like, a solid 2% of the time, was I played this in conjunction with that 3-mana Sorin.
Yeah.
I forgot which one it is. It's a 3-mana Sorin that essentially lets me downtick him when he ETBs to put a vampire from my hand into play. So on turn 3, I was going to play this 7-mana using Sorin, cheat out this 7-mana 6/6 ETB. Disrupt the hand, attack, discard the library, and I had like Teferi's Ageless Insight, I had Tasha's Hideous Laughter, I had just a bunch of stuff. I had no Ruined Crabs. This was a terrible mill deck. And you know what? Mill is a thing nowadays, so I might try and build it again. Using Lord Xander.
I remember when it was Sorin Imperious Bloodlord.
Yeah.
When you played Sorin Imperious Bloodlord and then you dropped Xander, and I remember you were like, it's happening. I remember this moment. It hit the battlefield, and then I discarded half the cards in my hand, which was like 1 or 2, and then there was like this. We thought like that would end the game. But it was like, oh, I guess that's it. That was the whole thing. Like, it didn't end anything. It just kind of like awkwardly, Wow, that.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, but
what about
I remember,
what's the dumbest build you ever made?
Well, I don't know if it was dumb. It was more hopes and dreams. Like, I was like high hopes for that Danitha. Like
It's a good
Danitha.
deck. It can
I
happen.
I think it can. I think Danitha
You don't have
is
the support yet. That's the thing. I called this your Jason deck.
yeah.
You know, like in every Halloween movie, you could be 20 miles away, but turn five's a coming, and once turn five happens, you're screwed.
Yeah. And legit turn 5 was impactful. Unless
Yeah.
you saw it coming 5 turns earlier and you saved some sort of removal or interaction spell. But yeah, when Danitha hit the battlefield, Helm of the Host would be attached to it, and then combat would come, and you create a copy of Danitha that is not legendary. That would hit the battlefield, and you would attach whatever aura you had in your graveyard or in your hand.
What were you running? Like Colossus Hammer and what else?
It was it's like a 7 mana
Titanic Gross.
No, it was like a 7 mana aura that gave it +7/+7 and trample. So it was ridiculous. It did one thing, and if it did the thing, it was cool. It works great on Arena because the only reason it works on Best of 1 in Arena is nobody sees it coming. They beat me down to 2 life, and then they're already sending me the good game. Haha, oops. They're already mocking me. And then I drop Danitha and I gain 20 life. And I hit them it's like I gain a 14 life or 15 life, and then I do 15 damage to them. And they think their death touchers are going to stop it, but it's got first strike, vigilance, lifelink.
You know what? And this is stupid. This isn't going to work, but I want it to work. You know how this goes. But you know what? Between the new set, what are we on? Karlov Manor. In Karlov Manor, there are so many ways to get cards into your graveyard, right? Which Danitha likes. And which means you're shuffling through your deck. And Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I mean, this is standard playable. You would have to find the right aura you don't have Helm of the Host. The right aura or equipment to see if you can build a standard deck. Because turn 5 is totally reachable in standard.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah.
I wonder if
really Helm of the Host made that.
Made the deck.
Yeah, it really made it something beautiful. And then you could put use the auras because... So what would happen in Arena is I'd attach Helm of the Host, Danitha's token would come out, and I'd attach a huge aura, smash in, and then they would kill that gigantic creature I just made, not realizing that the aura goes in the graveyard, and when I make a copy next turn with Helm, that aura comes right back onto the battlefield, and I smash in again. So it's resilient, but it's so linear. It's the most linear deck I think I've ever built. He just does this one thing and nothing else.
What do you think is going to show up this I guess next weekend at what kind of deck is going to break this format? Actually, I have an idea since we're unscripted right now. What if I pull up our little tournament thing and we use it to make some Pro Tour predictions of the type of decks that we're gonna have, that we're gonna see?
Well, does it even have any data in it?
Yeah, you haven't seen. You look at nothing I send you. I swear.
I've been very busy.
I don't even know why I try anymore. You don't look at me the way you used to.
It's a one-sided relationship.
I'm over. You should tell them while I try and find this. You should tell them about when I was on my way to Singapore and you went to sleep.
I feel like our real lives are more exciting than our pretend lives with Magic. We stop playing Magic and then go do some weird stuff in the world.
Oh yeah, I just like drop off the face of the planet for a couple weeks.
Yeah, gotta go. And you're like sending me messages like, "Oh, I'm over here, this other side of the planet."
But still about Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. So what are you playing next week? It's like, aren't you busy? No, I got a break. You know, I'm curious if where Is It Phoenix falls out in the
it's gone. It's dead, dude. I
Is
played
it
it
really?
1 week and I did not do well. Yeah.
Well, did you?
Dead. It's dead
Well,
for me.
you put your little hopes and dreams in there instead of like real cards sometimes. Like you want to like triple cast temporal trespass and stuff like that.
That's not hopes and dreams. That can happen.
I want to take 9 turns. Like, yeah, I mean, maybe 1 in there is fine, but maybe do you run Picklock Prankster in your
Of course.
in your is
of course.
it easy?
I yeah, of course. Like I pretty much invented putting Picklock Prankster in there.
That was all you.
Yeah. I even made it famous. My computer's acting really slow. It's probably because I have a bunch of stuff up right now.
You have like 9 windows open.
Yeah, I mean, I'm OBS and this and YouTube and whatever.
Yeah.
Do better, Mac. I'm trying to find I swear I put tournament data into this thing, and this is exactly what we built it for, right? Like it's essentially all of these standings, and if nothing else, because like I think what we're seeing is how fluid, or what I'm learning, right? Because I'm still new to the game. Where is it? Oh, don't tell me it's in a different drive. It's not necessarily the actual deck, right, as much as it is the archetype.
Yes.
That was one of our first things, really, was that you know, the watching the archetype thing play out.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that's the whole reason why we're collecting this information, is to build out. We're trying to get probably a 50% meta guess. Like take a guess at 50% of the meta to choose a deck that would react well to the meta. And because I think the only decks that are kind of new, you know, you have your traditional Pioneer decks, you know, the Lotus Field combos and your Is It Phoenixes and Rakdos mid ranges, and sometimes you have your aggro decks or your Convoke decks. Those are still around, but the new ones on the block are like the Aurelia combo. Seeing Insole artifacts show up is interesting, though. It makes me think that once we populate that spreadsheet, we're going to find reasons for why Insole artifact would rise to the top in certain metas. You know, but if you asked me today what I would play, like if you said, "Hey, we're going to go play Pioneer," and if I wanted to win, there's a big difference between playing Pioneer and then wanting to win. I'd probably end up playing a control deck.
Really?
Yeah, I think
control is in a great spot right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, because there's so many things that decks are trying to do that makes them fragile. It makes them susceptible to control.
Right.
So the more tricks like Danitha's a trick. The more Danitha decks there are out there, the easier it is to disrupt. And there's so many ways to exile, to get those things just out of the board, you know, off the board completely. There's so many options. I love the Pioneer meta because of that.
Okay. Speaking of the pioneering meta,
Wow.
so I had some time on an airplane flying across the international date line both ways to really dive into this. So,
Oh, hey, we had a great. By the way, I was in my car driving home, and we were building. You were running through the spreadsheet and describing it to me while I was driving, and I felt like that was a great conversation, and we were
yeah.
like working it towards this beautiful moment. And before I got home, you're like, I got it.
So this takes us all the way through like the major tournament data through the end of 23. I didn't add anything the last couple of months, but and we've talked about this before, just like our deck standings and all this. This is not just you and I play testing. This is like actual tournament standings from real people that are good at playing Magic the Gathering.
And we'll call this version 3. This is version 3.
So this is the really cool part of it. So if anyone ends up listening to this, I am on a page called what we dub the Success Index. All right. Yes. So essentially, all you do on this main page is scroll all the way over.
Oh wait! Didn't we have another name for it?
Oh no! That's one of the particular variables. Is the where is it? The ACV quotient.
ACV quotient.
Which is hysterical.
That's so good.
All right. So what we do is we pick 4 test decks, okay, and we look at the entirety of our database and come up with all these little indices of success or failure relative to the other decks. That's the cool thing about this, is that it's a relative comparison. So what I think we should do, JJ, is first pick 4 decks, okay, that you believe we have enough information on that you would call a pillar of a particular archetype, right? Now, I say that because our tournament data ends November 23 of 2023. Things like Aurelia were still new to the game.
Right.
So we pick decks from before then that are pillars of their archetype. And then we'll take a look at the tournament information for the preceding 3 or 4 months. And then you think we use that to make predictions about the Pro Tour.
Okay. Well, so are we going to leave mono green out of it completely?
No, because like if you say I don't know what to call mono green because it was a little combo-y, but if you could say that's archetypically an aggro deck, or, if you were to put that as a pillar deck, not just a one-off really good in the particular meta, then we would use it.
But I think it was its own thing with Karn, so I think we have to leave that one out.
Okay, so test deck 1. Let's call it an aggro deck.
Yeah. We'll say any aggro. Boros, Convoke,
mono white. Mono white is probably the most prevalent and consistent aggro deck in a long time.
Are you going to put all aggro decks against each other?
No. So let's do 1 aggro, 1 control, 1 combo, and 1 mid-range deck.
Okay, so I'll say the mid-range would definitely be Rakdos.
Rakdos, okay. Rakdos mid. Okay. Combo deck.
Hidden Strings. Or Lotus Field combo.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what we called it in there.
Do we do the Yorion version or no? Of Lotus? No, that was more control-y than combo-y.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
That wasn't its purest. That wasn't its purest form.
Yeah.
Then what about control? Azorius control.
Yeah, I think that's the only game in town, I think.
Okay. UW control. Okay, cool. This is interesting. So we have the relative success rate, and this isn't surprising, right? If anything, this is confirming. We have a relative success rate of these 4 decks that have been in the meta for a while. Rakdos mid, by and large, was relatively more successful than the other 4. But let's dive into what this information actually is. So we're testing mono white humans versus Lotus Field versus Azorius Control versus Rakdos mid in their tournament performance from July 2023 to the end of November 2023. So we're looking. So I feel like I need to explain these variables. So one of the knowns is how many times these decks showed up in the top 32 of the tournaments, right? Rakdos mid had the most at 99 appearances, right? With Azorius Control having the least at 44. Now, the presence factor is like, cool, sure, you have 99 showings of Rakdos mid, but what was the relative placement of these decks compared to the other one? Like, was Rakdos mid consistently above or below mono white humans, yada, yada, yada? So the interesting thing here is they had a presence factor of 2.32 and a success rate of 42.59. So these are relative percentages to the other 3 decks. So when there was a mono white humans deck, when there was a Lotus Field deck and Azorius Control deck, the Rakdos deck won 42% of the time and had an overall meta saturation at 10%, right? So that's just kind of like the bluff data, I think.
Yeah, no, so just humor me and change any other decks to mono green.
Okay.
Because this mono green was supposed to be the foil to Rakdos mid, right?
Yeah.
So if you add that in there, the presence of mono green should change
drastically the success results of the mid-range deck. Where the heck is mono? I think I can type it, right? Yeah.
Look at you.
Wait, no, fancy. Green Devotion. We called it Green Devotion.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Boom. Oh my gosh, look at that. The success rate of Devotion to Green relative to the other 3 decks is 75%. Yeah. That is why they had to ban Karn, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they had to stick a knife into that deck.
Yeah.
75% success rate over the last, what is that, 6-7 months now?
And the suppression of the other decks, too. It suppressed the win rates of those other decks to the point where it was almost like almost ridiculous.
Yeah.
Are you putting Grease Fang in there?
No. Okay, what do we have here? We had White Weenie, right? Mono white. Okay, cool. All right, look, you take mono green out, it looks like a healthier meta.
Yeah, it's all healthy all of a sudden. I hated to hear that, by the way. That was like, that tells me that I was wrong in how I felt about mono green. I thought mono green was fine. I didn't think it was overbearing or anything. I thought it was just fine.
Yeah.
But it dominated the meta. It dominates it on a competitive level.
It does. Not at our level because we're bad at Magic.
Yeah.
But
we're good at spreadsheets.
But we're good at spreadsheets. So what the success index page actually gives us a relative look at how these decks compare for every single tournament we have in our database. And why that is important is because of the ACV quotient that we use for that front page, right? So essentially what this will do is observe the relative placement of each deck compared to the other, where the higher the number is, the lower the actual rank. So for instance,
I can interpret your brain, what your brain's trying to say.
Because it's been a while.
So basically, if you take a tournament and you number it, the number 1 deck to the 36th deck, what our what our spreadsheet does is it, no matter where, Azorius control falls out, if it is above Rakdos midrange, then that relative ranking and the presence of those two decks, that's what goes into our calculation. It doesn't have to be the number one deck. It's just the presence of those decks together and how they relate in that meta together. So it doesn't just do a blanket, if you made the top 8 or the top 16, those decks had to be present together, battling each other in the same fight, or even just in the same room. They may have never met in the actual tournament, but they were there together, which alters that meta. And that's what we're trying to capture. It's like, once you introduce a certain deck into the meta, how does that change? Like, I know mono white isn't around anymore because it's not mid-range enough to beat Rakdos mid-range, and it's not aggro enough to beat all the aggro decks. It doesn't have enough defenses to fight against board wiping Azorius control, and it doesn't have enough responses to threats that throw combos out. Mm-hmm. So it kind of just falls through the cracks perfectly.
Perfectly to never be seen again.
Yeah.
But, so it's also interesting, too, because what we've done is we've taken these relative placements, ordering the decks 1 through 4 against each other, to create an average placement of the deck. So we actually see in the tournaments where all 4 decks were present, the average place for mono white humans was 1.85. So they were actually typically higher ranked than Rakdos mid, ranking 2.32.
That's
right?
Interesting.
And even further interesting, JJ, is this last little bit here. Does the tournament matter? So
that's good. I love that.
It spits out a yes or no, because, for instance, when you're looking at these specific deck types, if Rakdos midrange wasn't in the tournament, that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal because it affects the entire top 32. So essentially, we want to take that tournament and throw it out and find tournaments of more significance that have more of the decks that you're trying to compare present in order to see how do these guys rank out. So what was this? I'm trying to interpret my formulas in the Excel spreadsheet to remember how I logic this. So essentially, okay, I got it. So the ACV quotient, which is the most critical variable.
The greatest variable ever created.
Yeah, the ACV quotient, it takes a look at these tournaments that matter. So actually, what I was talking about earlier, the average placement is across all tournaments, right? The ACV quotient looks specifically at the tournaments that matter and then ranks the decks against each other. So this is the crux of it, right? Across the entire data set, actually surprisingly, but not so surprisingly, mono white humans is number 1 of the 4, right?
So maybe I should bring it back.
Well, maybe, right? But that's when we start talking about, okay, so we now have a placement, right? Let's flesh out this. I need to write this down. We need to flesh out the way that our little spreadsheet is supposed to work. Right now, our spreadsheet is telling us that aggro is top at 1.9%, right? Where mono white humans was our seminal deck, like our pillar deck for aggro. Then it was combo, right? Then it was control at 2.5, right? And then it was mid-range.
So I think our next goal with this, so we have to block off major meta changes. So like the ban list, from that moment to the next, to the set release, to the next, you know what I mean? Like every time
When was the ban? That was in November, right? Because I remember
Yeah,
that was right before the RC, which is what made it a big deal.
yeah.
Okay.
And that I think that I think taking those into account and also like seeing the introduction of new cards in the
Like the
meta.
first time you see a new deck in the top 32.
Yeah,
We have so much work to do.
we do.
I
But
don't
I
know why
think
we're podcasting.
yeah, like we don't know anything yet. We're here to figure that we
all,
didn't
all,
we sold it
all
as
I know
that.
is that I know nothing. Okay, so no. So what this spreadsheet, the way it's built right now, is giving us a list. Aggro beats combo beats control, and then mid range exists, which is hilarious because when I was texting you the rock paper scissors and magic when I was writing that little article, this
Yeah.
is how it plays out, right? But the challenge now, where we're going to make predictions, is identifying a new pillar for the archetype and then compare the nuances between those decks to make a prediction of who comes out on top. So, what do you think the new aggro deck is in Pioneer?
New aggro. You know what? What if it's not a new? I mean, is is it Phoenix an aggro deck?
Yes.
I think is it Phoenix might be the one of the top aggro decks.
So, I would say, is it Phoenix? And then,
You know what I've noticed too is that when the meta changes, mono red aggro shows up and starts winning, and then people
that's
adjust.
just because like people are in a void and mono red always the
Makes them feel better.
opportunistic. Yeah,
It's like that
people
X.
are figuring stuff up, and then mono red's like burn, 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 burn.
You're like,
like
it's late. It's
stop
late,
it.
and your ex is, like, hey, are you up? You up?
What are you doing?
Hi. Hey, mono red, you doing anything right now? You want to go out? We can keep it friendly. It's okay.
Yeah, no one has to know. Yeah. What about Boros Convoke? Because
Yeah.
have you looked at War Leader's Call?
Let me
Holy
look up.
smokes, dude.
Let me see. Is that a
That
new?
yeah, it just came out with this set. It's a 3-mana enchantment
I'm gonna share
that
it.
just like lights a fire under
I'm gonna share it.
or lights a fire for the Boros Convoke deck.
Okay. Creatures you can control get +1/+1 whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control. It deals 1 damage to. Oh, I think that's it costs 3 though. I don't know. That's a good turn 3 though.
That's a really good turn 3, especially if you're not already convoking out. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I can still aggro the crap out of you. So
Well,
I would say
it triggers prowess, right?
it triggers prowess. Also, Imodane's Recruiter. Have you seen that one?
How do you spell that? I'm gonna just say recruiter.
Yeah. I want to say it's from Wilds of Eldraine. So it's a split card.
There it is.
There it is.
Imodane's recruiter. So for 5, you can create 2 white knight creature tokens with visuals.
Yeah,
and then
no
for
one plays
3,
that.
when it enters the battlefield, creatures you control. Oh, so it's a reckless bushwhacker.
Yeah.
But with haste.
In Boros.
Oh, yeah, it's a reckless bushwhacker in Boros. That's kind of... I'm going to look and see... It's got to be like some tournaments, recent tournaments with...
I'm sure there's like a challenge or something. Nothing major because like the last couple of RCs have been modern.
So here's a 5-0.
No one cares about modern.
I'm looking at a 5-0 from one of the Pioneer Leagues, and it has Ornithopters, Novice Inspectors, which enter the battlefield and investigate. Thraben
Yeah.
Inspectors, of course, Voldaren Epicures. So you basically have like the 1-drops and then the
So
Ornithopter.
essentially, they're running running 12 1-drop artifact makers.
Actually,
That's nuts.
okay, so they're running 1, 2. Here, let me stop sharing that and start sharing something else because this is an interesting Boros Convoke. This one just 5-0'd something. So it's got a Gigantha as a
Yeah,
companion.
look at that. 12 1-drop artifact makers. Novice Inspector, which is really Thraben
Yeah.
Inspector, but on
And it's got your
Ravnica.
It's got your
Convoke,
Immodane's
yeah.
Recruiter.
Yeah. Look how fast that deck is, dude.
So you can do the 1-drops. You can Gleeful Demolition and then do your normal Convoke into a Venerated Loxodon or a Knight Errant Vios. But it also has some middle game here where you can 1-drop, 3, or 1-drop, 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 3-drop, and give them all haste and plus them up and swing it. That's an interesting little setup right there.
So I'm putting that with Boros Convoke into the aggro pillars potential. Yeah. So what do you think about combo? What are the combo pillars right now? I think Amalia for sure.
Yeah, Amalia. I think Hidden Strings is still. It's
no.
still. Yeah, it is. It's
no.
still. Watch.
No
I can find. I'm gonna look at.
I'm gonna look right now. No one is playing Lotus Field. That deck is disgusting.
I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna live look up cold some pregame tournaments. So I'm gonna do advanced tournaments in Pioneer. How far do you want me to go back? To January?
Just the last 2 months. Just the last 2 months. February and January.
So I'll do January 1st.
Dude, Arclight Phoenix won the MTGO showcase. Wow.
Not surprised. Wow. I'll say last 3. I'll do the last 3 months. All right, so let's do a preliminary. That's a good one. Oh, look. First one I opened up. Hidden Strings.
Gosh, stop.
Hidden Strings.
Is Insole, is Artifact a is this a combo deck?
Well, it's an aggro deck, but it creates. Look, you have all these. This is an Insole Artifact. So you have your 1-drops that are. This will create a map token. This one you can draw off of Voldaren Epicure, which can create tokens. And then Inti, whenever you attack, you can discard a card. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample. And whenever you discard one or more cards, exile the top card of your library. So you have some card draw in there at the 2 spot. And then a Reckless Bushwhacker. So this is 100% aggro, right? This is an aggro pile. You have Gleeful Demolition, same as the other.
Would you put Insole Artifact as one of the aggro decks?
Well, yeah, I would say it's aggro because you've got a Smuggler's Copter and you can Insole Artifact that. I mean, this is aggro. Okay. It just has a trick to it.
What about these Niv Mizzet decks? Is this I think this is Fires of Invention, right? No?
Oh, like Niv to Light? Are you talking?
No, not. Are they playing in? Yeah, it is.
Oh,
but with Niv Mizzet Reborn, Niv to Light. So this is a combo. This is an interesting deck because they're playing Lightning Helixes. They're playing Kranko's Buzzer Bee.
Wait, what deck are you looking at?
I'm looking at the MTGO Showcase Challenge.
You show yours. Show yours. Show me your deck.
I'm shy.
Whip your deck out and show it to everybody.
Oh, funny. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, here it is. Fine, since you asked politely.
All right.
Niv Mizzet. So this is combo. This is a Bring to Light deck.
It's a little control-y, right? You've got Leyline. Yeah, I guess it is mid-range. Mid-range?
You call it. I'm down for calling it mid-range.
Maybe it's yes. Let's see. So Deputy Detention, Control-y, Elish Norn, a little Control-y. What's Krenko's Buzz Crusher do?
It's a 4/4 flying artifact from the new set.
Where do they put that deck? Where does MTG Top 8 put it? Do they call it an aggro deck or a mid range?
They will.
I think if you go to the opening Pioneer page and then look to your left, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. They call it a control deck.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, do they call it a? No.
But they also call Rakdos Sacrifice aggro, and Rakdos mid-range is aggro. So I don't really trust their judgment here.
I don't think that's.
I would call it combo.
Would you call it a combo? I guess
sorry, mid-range.
Yeah.
Because look at it. What are you trying? What is the win case? The win case is you get these big bad creatures out there to do big bad creature things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this is number 14. You know, you're playing a slaughter games, you got the no more lies, so you are countering some stuff, but at the same time you're just killing things, but you're also playing creatures.
Yeah, that's
you're
mid-range.
Trying to use those. Yeah, I'd say this is mid-range.
Yeah.
So Niv to Light. So right now on the aggro tier, we have Insole Artifact, Izzet Phoenix, and Boros Convoke. Okay, and the combo world, we have Amalia and Hidden Strings.
Yes.
Okay. Control, Mono Black, and Azorius. I mean, just kind of obvious here. The ones that exist. So Mono Black and UI Control. Okay.
Where does the... no, I guess that's not really a deck. Never mind.
No, this is really good. Because what we've done now is, like, we have... oh, wait, let me stop the share. So what we've done is we've just listed, essentially, what the meta is right now. And we have to identify what kind of deck is going to come and win the Pro Tour. Right. So or at least top A.
So that's our mission between now and the next podcast.
Okay.
We predict this.
We'll tweet it.
Hands in.
Make an Instagram. Huh?
Hands in. ACV on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Choose ACV. ACV. Eventually we'll get at this synchronized stuff. Anyway, so that's that. I think that's about an hour. That's all we wanted to talk for. Yeah, that was good. We chatted. We shared our spreadsheet.
Are we going to play some Arena now?
Hell yeah, we're going to play some Arena.
Let's do it.
Give us a second. I'm going to go get a drink. Okay. But until next time on the podcast, and see you on Twitter.
Doing the podcast.
All right. See ya.